Hey, check it out. I believe the tech is up and running. Patrick is back in his house. For those of you that have been trying to watch on a regular basis, I owe you a severe apology because I have been out of the zone a little bit myself. Cup of coffee number 2. I've been doing some traveling to Florida to meet with an amazing client who's doing big things. And I just feel so fortunate and lucky to be part of that team. And then after that, I had my own speaking gig in Fort Worth. And so as much as I try to fit in the Facebook Lives, I was just slacking on those. And so please accept my sincere apologies. If you're a podcast listener, by the way, thank you always for tuning in and the ratings we're getting on iTunes and some of the other platforms. I really do appreciate you. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe cross-platform. I am in big-time planning mode for 2020 because as always, I want to do bigger and better things. I see clients doing better things. I see friends doing bigger and better things. I have giant aspirations and dreams myself. So I thought today one of the things we could talk about is kind of how we talk to ourselves in 2020. One of the many life lessons I've learned from people I've worked with over the years and mentors is language matters. And not only the language we use with each other, but our internal language, our internal dialogue from the moment we wake up, the things that we say to ourselves. And you wouldn't think it would matter that much, but it's huge because it kind of forms the vision and how we see things, and just changing a single word or two sometimes can really either make things better or make things worse. And you've noticed this. I'm sure you notice this in people that you talk to sometime. So that is going to be our topic today on the Stop Doing Nothing show. Let's get to work. Hey, for all you first-timers, thank you for watching. And if you're on the podcast, thanks for listening. This is Patrick Allmond from Stop Doing Nothing, stopdoingnothing.com. Oh, and in addition to the pre-intro, which I'm not sure if you saw that there, I've got some other things cool going on. So as always, if you're a podcast listener or a YouTuber or a Facebook Live, thank you for watching. If you're watching live right now, it's December 12th, 10 o'clock in the morning. And if you are watching live, chime in the comments below with where you are watching, what city you're from, how you found us, whether or not this is your first time and you're clueless. Heck, even let me know how you can hear the microphone and how the video is coming through okay, because I'm always curious how technology is working. Today we're going to be focusing on the language that we use to talk to ourselves. And like all things I talk about, this is one of those things that I had to learn the hard way, is my internal dialogue of the words I use. And it shapes how I see things, and it shapes my attitude. How I may say a certain sentence may kind of depress me and bring me down. And this may be happening to you sometimes. I mean, we're all guilty of it. So I'm not talking about this topic because I'm a saint. I'm talking about this topic because I've been here, done this. And if you're not that kind of person, then you are around those kind of people. And one of the things I think you learn in life as you mature is how to recognize those kind of people. And in your maturity level, you learn to kind of distance yourself from those people. You may not socialize as much with those people. You may choose to, not invite them to social events or not invite them to parties. And the people I'm talking about. And SNL did a great parody of this. If any of you are SNL fans like I am, back when Rachel Drash, I think was her name, on SNL, she had this character called Debbie Downer. And they made Debbie Downer from everything from her hair to her eyes to her clothing. They just made her like a mood killer. And it was so over the top, obviously, because it was parody. It was awesome. But it's one of those things that's like parody, but you're like, oh, haha, yeah, there's a Debbie Downer in my office. I know that lady. Because, we've all had a Debbie Downer like that. And it's also the kind of person in a casino they use that calls the cooler. A cooler walks around a casino and they just have a way of killing the mood. And when they kill the mood, they kill who's ever winning money from the casino. They kind of stop that process. And I know there's a movie about it. I've seen the movie and I've heard they're real. I've never seen a cooler, but I hear they're out there. So we've all got coolers in life and we do not want them. So, there we go. Coffee's getting to the point now where it's sippable. We're going to talk about some of the things we have to stop doing and some of the things we have to start doing when it comes to language. And as always, chime in below. Okay, And as always, please make sure you follow the podcast and the video show on YouTube. Stop doing the words. Let's talk about the particular words. The words, we have to stop using words in sentences that indicate ambiguity. And what those are the words like the maybes, or when you're giving approximations. I'm okay with approximations, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of words that are non-committal. Like if someone asks you, what's your revenue goal for 2020? And if you say, I don't know, or it's a crapshoot, I have no idea what that is, I'm not a fan of that. And if I'm coaching you or we're working together in some capacity, I'm going to kind of hold your feet to the fire and make you commit to a number. I've got a number in my head. I've got some brilliant CEO friends who've got numbers in their heads. We may not always want to share those numbers, but we have to pick a number. We have to pick a number and write it down someplace. And that can be somewhat of a scary thing. We have no idea. If you say you're going to commit to making, $700,000 in 2020, and here you are in still 2019, and you haven't figured out how to get to 200,000, well, heck, that's crazy scary. But it's always good to pick a number and basically put that someplace where you can constantly monitor it. I like when I'm in the zone, I like putting up numbers like this is my standing desk right here. I like putting up numbers on the wall behind me, because every single time I pass by this area, and then I know that, everything I do has to be geared towards that number. So what I'm saying here is trying to eliminate the ambiguity in the day-to-day sentences you use. When someone says, can you do this? You're like, I'm not sure. Start saying stuff like, yeah, I can do that. I'm not quite sure how yet, but I can do that. I will commit to doing that for you. When someone says, what do you want to charge for something in your business? Don't come back with, I'm really not sure what that's worth. I don't know. I may charge $50 for that. I'm really not sure. What do you think it's worth? No, balls up and say, I want to, that service or that product of mine is $150. That's the value of it. Actually, no, the value is $500 or the value is $300. I'll sell it to you for $150. So be very firm on that. I belong to a lot of e-commerce groups. And people have all these products in these e-commerce groups, like t-shirts or mugs or whatever. And 90% of the people in there, if not more, have no idea what they want to charge. They know they got into that industry to make money, but they're afraid of charging too much. And then what happens is they don't commit, they don't go hardcore on their prices. And then what happens is they come back a couple of weeks later and they're like, I created this t-shirt and I sold it for $12, but I found out afterwards the t-shirt cost me $11 to make and there was $5 in shipping, so I lost money on the deal. Well, you know what? There is no reason you should have lost money on a deal like that when you know your expenses up front. I see a lot of this in business with people, not charging enough for their consulting. And I kid you not, I just consulted with a lady on this yesterday who wanted to know how to become a consultant. And she was asking me, how much do you charge when it comes to consulting? Is there a website I can go to? And I'm like, there's no website. If you're a consultant or a speaker or a trainer or things like that, your prices come from your head and the value you provide. So, if you have a coaching program or a service that's going to make somebody, $100,000, you should be very proud of charging, $10,000 or $20,000 for a product or service. So do that when it comes to your pricing, and do that when it comes to the words you use in your sentences. Is be committal, be very strong, be very firm with them. Don't ask somebody, have you ever seen this? Don't ask somebody what you should charge. So if they say, what do you charge for this? Don't go, is it $500? Don't do that. Say it is $500. And then when someone comes back to you and tries to negotiate that down, say, it's $500 right there. So you stop using maybe. Stop using very soft language. And I'm not a great linguist, but I know soft language when I see it. That's soft negotiation language. That's soft language like the maybes, the I'm not sure's, the I don't know what it is. We have to stop doing stuff like that. I also have notes here to stop really talking about or focusing on other things other than your primary thing. I see a lot of people using language to talk about their plan B when they're not 100% committed to plan A. In other words, they'll have a business idea and they get really excited about it. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to come up with this. I'm going to sell this. But just in case that doesn't work, I'm going to go over here and make sure I have a plan B. Make sure I can drop back to my salary job. Make sure I've got a friend who can hire me back if my plan A doesn't work out. And, I guess I'm okay with plan Bs. I don't like to focus on them. There was a great line, which you'll probably see in some of the t-shirts I wear and some of the things I put out. There was a song Will Smith did a while back called I'm Coming. And it's one of his unrealized hits, if you will. It's my favorite song of his. It's called I'm Coming. And in there, it just talks about how he may not be at the level, his capacity or his potential right now, but it's happening. He's committed. He will be there. And so just get ready for him. Will Smith is coming. Big Willie style, as it's called. Big Will's coming. And in that song, he talks about there's no plan B, it distracts from plan A. And ever since I first heard that song, and I first heard that phrase a long time ago, I have been obsessed with that phrase. So please make sure you are 100% committed to your plan A and have the plan B in the back of your head, but do not give it any mind, any attention. When you start giving time and attention to your plan B, plan A is going to get thrown out the door, and you're going to you're really not committed to plan A if you are spending a lot of time working on plan B. In my stop doing column right here, something else I had is estimates and non-committal things when it comes to your time. Start putting, giving quantifiable dates of when you'll do things for people, or when a certain plan will be done, or when a certain plan will be planned, or when a certain income level will be reached. One of the things I did this past weekend is I talked about, using Google Calendar as a productivity tool. If you guys ever want to know about that, let me know. We can talk about that. But I am such a big fan of putting everything on a Google Calendar as to when it's going to happen. I'm also a fan of countdown timers. If you've ever seen my desktop on the Mac, you'll see that there's an app I use, and it's actually on my iPad and my iPhone also. And I have all these key dates in business, usually all up for the next 365 days of when I have key meetings, when I have to travel, when I have key income goals, things like that. I've got all that stuff in my calendar, in this countdown timer app. And so at any point in time, I can pull up this countdown timer app. It'll tell me the exact number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds until that date is complete. And to tell you the truth, I really like to do it for the week, if you will. I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin had this TV show a while back called Studio 60, which was an SNL type show. And every week at Sunday, right after midnight, the 7-day clock would reset, and it was something that he kept in front of him at all points in time. And that's something that at some point in time I'm going to buy one of those clocks, and we'll probably put it, back here someplace to remind you of how much time is left in the week. Or I'll put it up here, or maybe I'll get two. They're not cheap, and if you ever see a well-priced one, let me know. But something to always remind me that time is ticking away. All the time you spend watching a YouTube video, all the time you spend screwing around, that time is ticking away. And we have to be conscious of that all the time. Now, getting over to the start doing column for 2020. Start obsessing. And by obsessing, I mean, again, not worrying about your plan B when you haven't fully committed to plan A. Going really deep into something, whether it's fitness, whether it's eating better, whether it's relationship goals, whether it's a business objective or an income level. Just, I don't know what the dictionary definition of obsess is. I just know what it feels like for Patrick to obsess over something, and that's keeping my eye on the prize all the time and doing everything it takes to work on that prize. So the background on my computer right now, if you could see it, as a matter of fact, it's on my iPad also. I'll show it to you here real quick. This is a background I made myself a while back. The background says, "Don't wish, obsess." And this is the same background should be my same background. Is it on here? No, I use something different on my phone. But on my computer desktop, it's the exact same background. If you want this background, let me know. There's no wishing in my world. There's no crossing my fingers, and there's no hoping. There's only obsessing. And that's one of the reasons that I joined CrossFit and I stopped going to the YMCA is I wanted to work with people who are obsessed with being better with themselves. Man, you walk into a CrossFit gym and those guys will kick your ass, but they are obsessed with my improvement and helping me get better. Start being okay. So here are some other stuff in my notes for you. Start being okay with not knowing, but being willing to learn. So when someone asks you to do something, if it's in your best interest, like your coach or whatever it is, start as opposed to just saying, I don't know and I have no clue as to how to do that. Be okay with saying stuff like, I don't know, but I'll find out. Those are the type of people you want to be around, the people that are perfectly okay with being ignorant. I'm ignorant on probably 99.999% of the stuff in the world, but I can learn. I've got Google, I've got books, I've got libraries, I've got courses, I've got all kinds of stuff I can learn from. So be okay with saying, I don't know, but I can learn. I don't know, but I will find the answer. Use language that forces you to commit to stuff. And again, quantifiable dates, quantifiable timeframes, quantifiable numbers, quantifiable web traffic, all that stuff. You are going to miss a lot of those shots you take. I don't want to get into the whole basketball analogy thing, but if you say, I'm going to have 1,000 visitors to my website by tomorrow, there's, if you don't have, 800 visitors to your website today, there's going to be a very hard chance of you making it. However, to the person who's obsessed with that and who says this is a mark and I'm going to hit it and nothing's going to stop me, there's nothing greater in the world than to work with a person like that who's obsessed with dominating their life and dominating a goal like that. Use words that force no other options. And I guess also here in my notes I have using the word no more, as in when people ask you to do things or people ask you to come out and socialize. If you're, don't mistake me for saying you shouldn't socialize and hang out with friends. That's very good for you. But don't be the kind of person that says yes to every single opportunity and yes to every single group. Every single group is not going to serve your purpose and is not best for your time management. So be willing to say no, because you've got other stuff on your calendar. And so just say no to other opportunities. Say no to doing things that are not worth your time or in the best interest of your value. Say no to people who want to talk you down when it comes to how you price your products and services. Oh, for those of you who have never seen the cool, awesome coffee cup my daughter got me before, there it is. If you want a cup like that, either reach out to me. I've got some cups we sell, or this one came from Coffee and Motivation. Very cool company. They've got all kinds of cool cups up there. My daughter bought me a cup, and I in turn bought her one from Coffee and Motivation. So getting back to what I was saying before is, and this is kind of going to be a hard one for you entrepreneurs that are brand new in the world, is I talked earlier about how to, basically stick to your prices. That's going to be really hard when you have a very shallow pipeline of business and somebody comes up and starts offering you money that is not really what you charge. I mean, if you're looking, if the bills are kind of piled on and you got to make payroll, or you have to, you got to, pay the kids' bills or put food on the table, and you charge, $5,000 for a service, and someone comes up to you and offers you $2,000, that's going to be a hard thing to turn down. And there may be times where it's okay to accept that. However, you need to not make that your norm. You need to make $5,000, in this particular example, $5,000 your norm for that product or service. Or when that $2,000 person comes back and says, maybe you can tell them, $2,000 now and $2,000 in a month, and then maybe a $2,000 the third month. So yeah, they can finance it from you, but it's going to be more for them. So be very careful about hemming and hawing to people that want to come to you and lower your prices. And this is, again, if you want some coaching or consulting on this, get a hold of me. I've got a program for this where I will basically show you how to be more steadfast in your pricing and steadfast in the way that you run your business. And again, this all comes from experience. I was doing some kind of spontaneous consulting with a lady yesterday when I was in Fort Worth. And again, she's starting a consulting business. And I explained to her, I said, I've been in business 20 years. And this is what I used to charge back then, and this is what I charge now. And you know what? People paid it back then and they were worse customers, and people pay it now and they are amazing customers. So I've learned to, number one, increase my prices, but number two, to be steadfast and be consistent in there. Be careful about the people that try to talk you down a little bit when it comes to, again, your value and your products and services. So as a quick recap, this overall podcast, this overall video was basically trying to teach you and convince you about how to use better language for yourself in 2020. As a matter of fact, don't even wait for 2020. Start using better language after you watch this video. Use more committal language. Use more forceful language. Be willing to commit more when it comes to numbers or dates or times or goals, specifically goals. Again, people sometimes I think are really afraid to commit to certain numbers. I will meet this number. And yeah, it can be scary. It really can. Spreadsheets are great for this, by the way. If you want to do a weekly or if you have a big, a massive income goal, every single week, looking at that spreadsheet. One of the big reasons I like looking at goals is because then I like to break down the goal. And then I look at it every single period, whether it's a daily goal or a weekly goal or a monthly goal, and it allows me to adjust and do whatever it takes to basically catch up with myself or realize that some of the things I'm doing in my business life are not helping me get to where I want to be. And so I have to adjust my sales, if you will. I mean, if you're looking at your income every single week for 52 weeks and you've decided you want to make $500,000 in a year, that, you divide that up, that's just under, what, is that just under $10,000 a week? Someone correct my math if I'm wrong. 10 times 50, is that right? It's not $1,000 a week. That would be 50,000. It would be $10,000 a week. So if you're looking at your 52-week, your 52-row spreadsheet, and you're not hitting that $10,000 a week goal, and forgive me if the math is wrong, then you need to adjust things. But you have to look at that every single week to know you're not hitting it. You can't look at it, 3 months into the year and say, oh crap, I got to catch up. No, let's take a look at what we've got here for 2020. We've got, when we're looking at goals for 2020, you're looking at, let's go here in a month for 2020, December, January. If you say you're going to hit that $500,000 income goal for 2020, the first week of January ends on the 4th. You have to be looking to see what did you do the 1st through the 4th and adjust your sales. Then looking at the 11th, the 18th, the 25th, February 1st, February 8th. You have to be looking at this stuff frequently and obsessing over those numbers. And something else I've used before, which I'm okay with, is it's okay to, while you're aiming for a goal and you're not hitting it, to get pissed at yourself. That really is perfectly okay. You know what? That is a little bit of fear. That is a little bit of annoyance. That's a little bit of ignorance. But that can also be fuel to drive you and making sure that you are doing things better. So it's okay to get pissed with yourself. Just use that as a little kick in the ass for yourself to do things better. So let's talk to ourselves better going forward in 2020 and for the remaining part of 2019. We are, what here? We are on the 12th. Yeah, we are on December 12th right here. Got about 19 more days. Daughter's coming in next week, and we're going to keep doing kick-ass things for 2020. As always, thank you. Thank you for those of you that watched live and recorded. I want your feedback below. If you haven't done so, please subscribe over on the Facebook fan page and on YouTube and over on iTunes. So this video that you're watching right now, if you're watching live or on Facebook or on YouTube, is also a podcast over on iTunes. So go over and subscribe to the podcast with the podcast app. And if you're listening on the podcast, this video is also on the Stop Doing Nothing fan page and on the Patrick Allmond YouTube channel. I appreciate your time. Let's kick some big time ass in 2020, and let's change how we talk to ourselves. I'll see you soon.